Okay, let's go through this offer from Sports Interaction. So we've got 125% up to $750 sports bonus. Okay, so this is a mega offer. It's obviously very, very big, one of the larger ones. And because of that, we need to be quite careful about how we get through this. And I'm going to explain what I'm talking about later on in the video. Essentially, we want to avoid getting limited here. Okay, so they're offering a 125% up to $750 deposit bonus. So you would deposit $600 and get 125% on that. Okay, so giving you a total balance of $1,350. And then you have to wager 6 times the deposit plus the bonus. So that is 6 times your $1,350, which is $8,100 in order to convert that into cash and withdraw. Now, right off the bat, this offer has been around for a little while, and we have had reports of some users getting limited, so stake limited. And for that reason, we have taken the decision to limit your bonus bets. The max rating here is 96. Okay, so we'll get onto that in a second. You can obviously choose to ignore that max rating, but for now, we're going to put in a max rating of 96% with the hope that you're not going to get limited here. Okay, so you shouldn't get limited based on the volume of data that we have on people's bets that have then got limited afterwards. We are putting this 96%, so you should not get limited. Okay, so from the top, 125% up to $750 deposit bonus. Here's the offer here, 125% up to $750. They also offer a no sweat bet up to $500. That offer is a lot simpler and quicker. Of course, you only have to place a maximum of 2 bets on Sports Interaction. You would place the initial $500 bet. If you lose, then you have to place the free bet. From that offer, you can lock in around $250, slightly more if you're using the parlay matcher. But with this 125% up to $750, we can lock in a minimum profit of $345. Okay, so it's a better offer. We recommend that you do the $750 deposit bonus offer, but we do have a guide for the risk-free up to $500. Let's say you're very tight for time, you need to get it done quickly, you don't want to get tied up in wagering requirements where you have to wager $8,100, for example, then you would do the risk-free bet. All right, so that's the offer, 125% up to $750. You would deposit $600, get a $750 bonus, and then you would start wagering towards the wagering requirements. Okay, and you would log that as normal, putting in your $600 deposit amount and your $750 sports bonus. If your bankroll is a bit lower, you can always just reduce your deposit amount. So here we go. They will add a $750 bonus to your cash balance of $600, and you have to wager $8,100. We're just going to keep this simple. Place $500 bets until you either bust out or you finish the $8,100 wagering requirement. So as I say, we've updated this link so that it's going to put you into max rating of 96 here. Okay, so max rating of 96. And the reason we do that, as I say, is to avoid you getting limited. When we looked at the data of bets coming through, we saw that users who were placing 99%, 98% bets were sometimes getting limited. So you should be fine if you place only up to 96% rating. All right, these sites kind of can see whenever you're taking value. They can see when you're taking a 99% rating or 100% rating, and they may apply limits accordingly. So you'd very simply go on here, you would press open in that calculator, change your bet amount to 500, and there you go. You're going to lose 4% of your bet there, so you're going to lose $20. So let's go and find that bet on Sports Interaction. Manchester United. So there we go. Manchester United 1.71, and let's go find Burnley or draw at 2.28 here. So here's the game, Burnley Man United, and we scroll down to double chance. There we have it. Burnley or draw is 2.28. So we would just go ahead and place those bets. You do $500 on Man United, $375 on Burnley or draw, and then you would just repeat that process. Okay, so you would use up your full $1,350 balance. Maybe you do a 500, and then another 350, and you just literally keep repeating that process, placing $500 bets or whatever is remaining of your balance until you either bust out your balance or finish the wagering requirement. As I say, hopefully you will not get limited if you only take max ratings of 96 here. I can appreciate it seems a bit counterintuitive to have a Dutch matcher that you're deliberately not taking full value, but it's only really for this offer. They do tend to limit, which is why we need to be quite particular. At least this allows you to get 96%. If you're just betting randomly, you're probably going to get closer to like 93% or something. Okay, and that is pretty much all there is to it. All right, if you do get limited, if you do get stake restricted, which is very unlikely, what we can recommend you do is just burn like a few small bets on stupid bets, basically. So same game parlays. You know, you can do $5 on some random same game parlay. These are the kind of bets that they love because they think that you're a gambler. But that should not happen. If you're only taking max 96% rating, you should not get stake limited. Another tip I would say here is to pick main markets. So pretty much all of these are fairly popular markets. I would maybe avoid, you know, college football if it comes up, or maybe this Bundesliga game, for example. I would stick to the main markets, which is NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB, and English Premier League. So that's literally all there is to it for the bonus bet section, okay? Worst case scenario, you have to wager through the full $8,100, and we've calculated that you're going to lose 5% on average. Let's say that you're taking 95% ratings on average, then you would end up with $345 at the end. Okay, so that is the worst case scenario. On average, it's going to be a lot better than that because you could actually bust out that bonus straight away. Let's say that you lost your first 3 bets right off the bat, and then you've only had to wager $1,350 on Sports Interaction. That's how much you would gain if you bust out at the very start, okay? So you'd only have to wager $1,350. You lose 5% of that $1,350. And you've obviously got that $750 bonus that they give you, right? So it's plus $750 minus the amount that you have to wager times the amount that you're losing on that $1,350. So that is $682. So best case scenario, $682. Worst case scenario, $345. And then we've kind of got this loose approximation, which is kind of answering the question, how much are you going to make on average? Now, granted, this is a loose approximation because we are kind of approximating 97% ratings here instead of 95%. So it's going to be slightly lower than this. But it's still interesting to see that the amount that you're going to make on average here is about $660, okay? So you're going to bust out around 50% of the time. So 50% of the time you're going to finish the wagering, 50% of the time you're not going to finish the wagering. Okay, that's all cool. As I say, if you want to get through this offer much quicker, just do the risk-free bet up to $500. You would go through to the Dutch Matcher in risk-free bet mode, and there's a worked example here, okay? So you would be going $500 on this, for example, hedge your bet as normal, and then if you win straight away, you're up around $250. If you lose on Sports Interaction, they refund a bonus and you just have to play that through and cash it out for about $350, meaning that you'll be up around $250 as well. Okay, we've got plenty of examples of risk-free bets on our site, so you can do that one if you wish. All right, but as I say, we recommend doing the sports bonus as it's higher value. Best of luck, guys, and let us know as always if you have any problems. Thank you.